Hey everyone, welcome back! I am Sheena Vermillion, and today we are breaking down one of the most significant system-level changes that SealM on Cross has pushed since launch. On April 22, 2026, the dev team dropped an official announcement titled Tower of Sage S2 Ranking Point and Reward Adjustments. And if you're the kind of player who cares about your position on the Shiltz rankings, this update directly affects you. This isn't a minor balance tweak. The numbers in this announcement represent a fundamental restructuring of how Tower of Sage translates into your overall ranking standing. So let's go through it methodically. What changed, why it changed, and what it means depending on where you fall on the leaderboard. Before we get into the numbers, let's establish the why, because the dev team actually told us. In their statement, they acknowledged, and I'm paraphrasing the official text here, that the current ranking calculation method was, quote, causing a severe competitive disparity under certain conditions, contrary to their original design intent. Two specific problems were identified. First, points were being totaled across all characters within a single account. This means multi-character players, people running multiple outs through Tower of Sage, were accumulating points at a rate that single-character players simply couldn't compete with. That's not skill, that's a time and doubt advantage. Second, the point ratio for Tower of Sage was set significantly higher than other content. In other words, Tower of Sage was worth a disproportionate amount of Shiltz ranking points compared to every other piece of content in the game. That created a situation where Tower of Sage essentially became the only ranking metric that mattered, making other content largely irrelevant to your leaderboard position. So the dev team's reasoning is clear. The system was inflating ranking points in a way that was never intended. The fix is a hard correction, and it is not a small one. Now let's talk about the actual data, because this is where it gets real. Under the old system, here is what Shiltz ranking points look like per Tower of Sage placement. Rank 1 earned 14,000 Shiltz ranking points. Rank 2 earned 11,000. Rank 3 earned 9,000. Ranks 4 through 10 earned 7,000. Ranks 11 through 100 earned 6,000. Now here is what the new system looks like. Rank 1 now earns 1,400 Shiltz ranking points. Rank 2 earns 1,100. Rank 3 earns 900. Ranks 4 through 5 earns 700. Ranks 6 through 10 earns 600. Ranks 11 through 20 earn 500. And then, this is the critical part, ranks 101 and below receive 0 Shiltz ranking points from Tower of Sage. Full stop. That entire bracket, minus 101 through 5,001 plus, is now completely cut off from Shiltz ranking point gains from this content. They still receive the season rewards, Sage's statue and Sapphire, but the Shiltz ranking point contribution is gone. Let's break this down by who you are as a player, because the impact is very different depending on your bracket. The Shiltz ranking points you earn from Tower of Sage have been cut by exactly 90%. Rank 1 drops from 14,000 to 1,400. That is not a rounding error. That is an intentional, structural reset. However, and this is important, the granularity within the top 100 has actually increased. In the old system, ranks 4 through 10 all received the same 7,000 points. In the new system, rank 4 through 5 get 700, while rank 6 through 10 get 600. There is now differentiation between those slots that didn't exist before. So while the raw numbers are smaller, your exact placement within the top 100 now carries more distinct value than it did previously. On one hand, the old system was generating a gap between multi-out power users and everyone else, so closing that outstacking exploit is theoretically a correction in your favor. On the other hand, if you were banking on your Tower of Sage placement as a ranking tool, and that placement sits outside the top 100, that pathway is now closed. Here is a detail that you should not overlook. The official statement specifically says that points earned during the previous season will also be adjusted, according to these new standards. This means it isn't just about going forward. If you earned Shiltz ranking points from Tower of Sage in the current season to under the old calculation, those numbers are being retroactively recalculated under the new formula. The dev team's stated reason is to ensure, quote, the same criteria are applied to all adventurers, regardless of individual circumstances or timing. The practical implication here, if you've been tracking your Shiltz ranking position and it was partly built on Tower of Sage points earned before this adjustment, your current position may change once the maintenance window completes. The adjustment was applied during the April 23rd maintenance. On the compensation side, the dev team has acknowledged that this is an abrupt change that may have caused disruption, and they issued a formal apology in the announcement. Compensation was confirmed to be distributed to all adventurers as of the time of the notice, but as of the announcement, the specific details of what that compensation will be have not yet been finalized. They stated they would update the notice once a decision is made. So if you're waiting on that, keep an eye on the official community page for a follow-up. Stepping back from the numbers for a moment, what does this adjustment actually signal about where the game is headed? The dev team explicitly said they want Tower of Sage to contribute to the Shiltz rankings in a way that reflects a fair and meaningful competitive environment. The language in the announcement is deliberate. They want ranking to reflect challenge value, not system exploitation. Reducing Tower of Sage's point contribution by 90% and removing it entirely for players outside the top 100 suggests one of two things, or possibly both. I'll be watching compensation details when they drop, and whether other content categories see any corresponding Shiltz point increases to offset this change. If you want me to cover those when they're announced, let me know in the comments. I am Sheena Vermillion. If this breakdown helped you understand what's changing, a like and subscribe helps this channel stay on the pulse of every major update. Stay analytical, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.